Hello and welcome back to Smarmalade Plays Autumn's Journey. We just spent an evening touching Ilmari and putting blankets on him. And then we came back to the house and Care was waiting outside where he proceeded to get a giant dragon boner because we gave him some bread. Alright, here we go. I gave you a walking stick, fed you, fought a giant bird, took you to the altar, got ditched, only for you to come crawling back, and I accepted you a second time. Now I'm starting to wonder why I did. I feigned contemplating, and he glanced away anxiously as if dreading that I would refuse to help him now. I stuck out my tongue to appease him and licked all the way into his mouth. Don't worry about it. Maybe I was right about me having immeasurable kindness. I am grateful, but you exaggerated a bit. You're definitely not the best Heavenkite has to offer. Piqued, I gave him a swift kick to the back of the leg. Ow!
Right.
You're right, I'm not. But I'll definitely be the best knight. Even if I lost some kindness points with that action, I'll re-earn them tomorrow. Night, Care. Night. I closed the door behind me, resisting the urge to squeal about tomorrow. Here we go! It's time for tomorrow. It's chapter, I forget, 4, maybe, yeah. To Oliver, here we go. It's time to become a knight and get a dragon boyfriend. Map? Rations? Yup, I think that's everything. Satisfied with my packing, I hurried down the stairs just as Mom was rereading the letter of recommendation she'd finished. All prepared?
Right.
Mom is a schizo. I sure am. How's the letter? I just showed it to the Argent Valere Guild, right? The Argent Valere Guild was one of the most prestigious orders in Ishtara. It consisted of knights who served the Sun and Moon Council, but also did non-military work. Oliver was the central hub for all their activity. Mom had been a part of the guild all her life, so her name was well known among the younger generation of knights. Right, as long as a former knight recommends you, it shouldn't be too hard to earn the rank. Hopefully they didn't change any of the requirements. Excited, I snatched up the letter and quickly skimmed the beginning. I, Lady Andrine Bayard, former captain of the guard, Turcopalier of the 3rd Cavalry line of... Mom, your titles and credentials are longer than the actual recommendation. But I guess it helps since I've been trained under you. I returned the letter so she could officially seal it, then promptly tucked it into my bag, making sure it wouldn't get crinkled. The Merchant Ventures carriage should be here shortly. They already know the escort arrangements, and your father is making sure the boys don't get into too much trouble. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Let's do this.
Anyway, let's get going. You're gonna see your daughter off on her grand adventure, after all. I eagerly rushed out the door, not wanting to make the others wait any longer. Wait, Aura! I halted and pivoted, noting the cautious tone in her voice. Yes? She sighed and folded her arms. Well, originally I was going to cancel this whole arrangement. Why? The merchant was rather vague about the contents he was carrying. I usually like to confirm everything with my own eyes, since it's not just for their safety, but also mine and that of any other escorts. I highly doubt the package will contain monsters or anything sinister. Are you sure you're not overreacting? I mean, this is your daughter getting involved. She paused and mulled over my suggestion carefully. True, it may just be my overprotectiveness. This is the first time my daughter will go off on her own after all. She nodded, mostly to herself, and I accepted her agreement.
Right.
Right, thanks for organizing everything. Now come on! As expected, Dad, Care, and Ilmari were at the edge of Barry with the carriage stationary on the main road. Care was pacing while Ilmari was chatting happily with my dad. The coachman waved to acknowledge us, and I approached the open window of the vehicle. A middle-aged man sat amongst the silks and pillows, which suggested I was protecting a wealthy merchant. Mr. Ormond, was it? I'm Auralee, and my companions and I will be escorting you to Oliver. I assure you we're well trained, and you'll get there unharmed. The others are well versed in magic. I was pretty confident about that assumption, at least. He nodded, and I was unsure if he was nervous or just reserved. Thank you. Shall we set off straight away? Ah, of course. It's no problem. I glanced down and saw an ornate box. It was long and narrow, and I tried to fathom what was so important that they needed to hire protection. It was Harry Potter's wand. Maybe it was a sword? I wanted to ask about the contents, but I decided against it. My priority was getting to Oliver, and the quicker the better. I made a mental apology to my mother, rationalizing she was just worrying over nothing.
Let's do this.
All right, it seems everything is ready. We're moving out. I energetically motioned to the others with my middle finger, then exchanged hugs with my parents. I promise I won't be gone for too long. I'll definitely be back in time for the harvest. As we departed, my mom cupped her hands around her mouth and spewed into them. And remember, be sure to check every barrel, crate, and chest in town. The residents don't mind if you find something useful. Mom, I'm pretty sure that's stealing. I don't remember the dad's voice at all, jeez. Speaking of which, teach your companions about the concept of pay. We don't want them accidentally pilfering apples or the like. Oh gosh, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Ilmari glanced at me curiously as we continued walking. Pay? Just don't take stuff, especially if it seems like it belongs to other people. But your mom just said... Don't mind what she said. And Care, you're too far ahead! Not a professional start. Thanks, Care. The merchant probably heard that they didn't understand pay either. Thank you, family. We hadn't even left the village, and already my mind was swarming with too many worrisome thoughts about the journey. No, just focus on the mission. It'll run smoothly, and everything will be fine once we reach Oliver. I reached into the bag and touched the letter for comfort and to make sure it was still there. Feeling my confidence returning, I straightened my back and boldly gazed where no man had gazed before. Finally, my dreams will come to fruition. What? Oh, okay. The journey so far had gone off without a hitch. We were passing through a rockier area, with a forest pressing against us on both sides of the road. There was still much greenery, but some trees were already showing the early signs of autumn with yellowed leaves. Ilmari and I were ahead of the two-horse carriage, while Care was content with shadowing the vehicle. Since history and politics were never my forte, my brain strained to answer Ilmari's endless questions, but I would immediately perk up if they had anything to do with knights. Unfortunately, this wasn't one of those times.
I have a question.
So, this council, each town has a representative, and they come together in Oliver to help govern? Pretty much. They do things like build bridges, schools, or improve the agriculture. We have a similar system between the wise dragons. They use their knowledge of the past to help shape our future. Hey, Maury! Have you been picking up activity for the past hour or so?
Well...
Ilmari. And yes, I have, but I wasn't sure if it should be brought up at all. I paused and touched my hilt, but let my hand drop lest it would reveal I suspected something. Activity? Are we being followed? The two exchanged glances, with Ilmari appearing more apologetic than Care. I'm sorry, I should have said something. I wish I had your hearing abilities, but still I feel so inattentive. I surveyed the forest, noting any jutting cliff sides. If we were to be ambushed... How many? I don't know, 5 or 6? Do you think these followers have a malicious agenda? I didn't think Heavenkind would be the hostile type. Well, I wish I could say everything was peaceful, but disputes and fights still arise. There's always exceptions. Dragonkind are generally harmonious, but clashes still occur. Especially when dominant young males are expanding their territories and they happen to overlap. It can get quite intense and scary. Not speaking from experience or anything. Of course not. I never assumed.
Annoying.
Bah, weak. Wait. He stared hard at Omari, and then his eyes widened in recognition. We have met! Dot dot dot. Kara let out a boisterous laugh, clearly amused by the whole situation. Sorry about that. Territorial instinct. Penis, penis. That lake had a nice beach. I stepped between them before any more tension could arise.
Stay focused.
Can we save the border debate for another time? Right now we have to focus on the people pursuing us. I wish you told me sooner, but at least now we can anticipate any attacks. Let's keep it from the coachman and our client. We'll feign ignorance in the meantime, and hope nothing bad will come of this. I'd rather avoid a battle if possible.